Lifegain in Magic the Gathering is more than a mere game mechanic. It's a fascinating journey through the history of this game, from its humble beginnings as a mere supporting cast of cards to its evolution into a true style of gameplay. Lifegain has left its mark on Magic. It's the expression of White's altruistic nature, Green's deep connection to the land, and Black's unapologetic prowess. In this video, I will take you on a journey through the history of Lifegain, then dive deep into how the primary colors of this mechanic imprint themselves upon it, both mechanically and through the flavor dictated by philosophy. If you're willing to take this journey with me, then I guarantee you will gain a deeper appreciation for why Lifegain has such an enduring legacy.
The thing we had better hope is that he doesn't drain him for 4, or even drain for 7. He's got to drain him for the full maximum.
Yeah, the only way Mara wins this game is if Davis drains for 4.
Lifegain in Magic the Gathering is a mechanic of humble origins, dating all the way back to Alpha, with cards like Healing Salve, Stream of Life, and Drain Life. Notable in that these 3 cards and colors would be defining pieces when it comes to the core themes that would persist into the present day, with White's core definition of Lifegain being focused on healing as a method of helping others, Green being that of the healing factor based on tapping into a plain source of mana, and of Black, the color who takes life rather than gives it. While these cards effectively added to your life total, they weren't much more than side pieces, as players knew early on that winning at 1 life was the same as winning at 20. Strategies would then favor more direct paths to victory, leaving Lifegain in a weird spot. Sure, they would see some play in control decks as a way of maintaining one's own life total out of reach of their opponent, but never would they be key components in a person's strategy for victory. It wouldn't be until 2001 that we would start to see cards that hoped to combo off Lifegain in a meaningful way, with the introduction of the card Test of Endurance. This card, which was released in the set Judgment, signified a shift in how people viewed the potential of Lifegain. Soon, niche decks would be crafted to take advantage of this card effect. Then, later, Felidar Sovereign would continue the trend in the original Zendikar set circa 2009. These decks may not have been the most competitive or dominant strategies of the respective eras, but they did focus on Lifegain as a key component of their win conditions during the early 2000s, reinforcing the concept that Lifegain could be a potential route to victory, rather than just a minor addition to one's deck. Over time, more cards were crafted by the designers to help lean into this concept, and consequently, it has evolved significantly since the release of cards like Test of Endurance and Felidar Sovereign. These strategies have transformed from niche win conditions to more versatile and competitive archetypes, adapting to the changing landscape of the game. Throughout the 2010s, Lifegain strategies began to form the backbone of mid-range decks that leveraged life as a means of buffing early game creatures into mid and late game ones. Cards like Ajani's Pridemate or Ageless Entity rewarded players for gaining life by growing stronger with each instance, while Archangel of Thune turned that life gain into a tool by placing 1/1 counters on creatures for each life gained. The Commander format became increasingly popular during this period, and Lifegain decks found a natural home in this multiplayer format. Olaro Ageless Ascetic, a commander from the 2013 Commander set, became a central figure in Lifegain strategies. Olaro allowed players to passively gain life each turn, then use that life gained to draw cards and deal damage, bringing out the potential utilization of life as a greater resource. In more recent years, Magic has witnessed Lifegain strategies being incorporated into combo decks. Cards like Heliod's Suncrowned and Walking Ballista form a powerful combo, where Heliod's ability to place +1/+1 counters on creatures whenever one gained life paired perfectly with Walking Ballista's ability to remove X +1/+1 counters, to deal large amounts of damage. Alternately, Black's dance with life gain as a win condition became a true threat by pairing cards like Sanguine Bond or Veto Thorn of the Dusk Rose with life gain to bring an opponent to their knees. Over the course of decades, life gain strategies in Magic the Gathering have evolved from their simple origins into valid win conditions, paired with diverse and competitive archetypes. The enduring appeal of life gain lies in its ability to simultaneously bolster a player's defense while enabling unique win conditions, ensuring that it will continue to be a compelling aspect of Magic's ever-evolving metagame and identity going forward.
We're going to gain life, we're going to use life, and we're going to win the game somehow in between there. We're going to tell you all of that in this video.
In his 2021 article, The Mechanical Color Pie, Mark Rosewater gave us some insight into R&D's thought process when it comes to assigning mechanics to each color in a way that suits their identity. In their own terms, they define a mechanic's place on the color pie by allotting it to each color that suits it best based on its core philosophy. This assignment is given 3 categories: primary, secondary, and tertiary. From this, we were told which colors are primary and secondary in life gain, though I bet through your own intuition you could guess which colors fall into the primary camp: white and green. Secondary is what fascinates me most, and that is black. The reason why this piques my interest is that we have the shared enemy of both white and green as the secondary holder of life gain. This creates a contrast in how the mechanic is implemented. As for the primary colors, life gain is a gift, a source of aid to the fallen, or a manner of growth, while for the secondary, it is something that is siphoned from their opponent, taken against their will. This variance in implementation is what makes the color pie such an important feature of the game, as each color, even those that hold the primary slot, take it in different ways. So what are these identities, and how does each color enact this mechanic? Well, let's start with the most straightforward of the 3, white. White's dedication to life gain is evident in its extensive roster of cards that grant life, whether through abilities like a Johnny's Welcome, which gains life when creatures enter the battlefield, or spells like Healing Hands, which provide immediate and direct life gain. This sort of thematic connection to life gain is no surprise when it comes to white. Healing Hands, for instance, paints a perfect picture of a color who reaches out to aid the fallen. White also frequently grants the lifelink keyword to its creatures. This ability, in conjunction with White's identity, formulates the image of a battle medic on the field, one who puts its own body on the line to heal others. As part of White's philosophy in regards to fairness, it's the color who pairs removal spells with the provisioning of life for the opponent it took a creature from, featured in cards like the iconic Swords and Plowshares or Condemn. When the designers make these choices to add a drawback which provides an opponent life in return for the removal of a creature, we're told that white is a color who is reluctant to take life, and so will balance it out, as if it desires to maintain some moral high ground in doing so. As far as utilization of life gain goes, white will often pair life gain with cards that trigger off of its application, providing +1/+1 counters to creatures for each instance of life gained, or by the summoning of angels to the battlefield if enough life was gained upon that turn, as if by showing these entities that their intentions are noble so that they may deem white worthy of their presence. When it comes to green's flavorful variation of life gain, it is one based in the cultivation of a plane's mana and creatures. Cards like Verdant Sun's Avatar enter the battlefield with substantial life gain attached, almost like a godlike creature who walks among its people, granting the very essence that flows through its soul. Green will also utilize life gain in a way that allows for the summoning of larger creatures at a lower cost per life gain that turn, with cards like Sproutback Trudge, an act that reveals life gain as something more than vitality, but rather the touch of Mother Nature herself. Being another color primary in Lifegain, green is capable of tapping into the very convergence of mana to pull off raw and true life gain, either by amassing large amounts of it based on a set number as seen on cards like Ceruli Gatekeepers, or through X-costed spells like with the iconic Stream of Life. As I said, green is highly reliant on creatures when it comes to life gain. Such pure attachments to nature's creatures come in the form of the loss of a creature returning to the land which gave it birth, or by the granting of life upon its arrival. In line with this connection to the pulling forth of nature's gifts, green tends to have the ability to gain life in the case where it places land upon the battlefield. Such actions are a true representation of where this healing comes from. Not from upon high like white, or through dark ritual like black, but rather from the soul of a plane. Black, being the color who contrasts both white and green, being the enemy of both colors, and secondary in life gain, takes a vastly different approach to it, through both mechanics and flavor. Black's life gain is often typified by the taking of life into its own, represented as the act of siphoning the essence from their opponent. As such, it is most reliably portrayed by vampirism, which grants us an innate understanding of how Black's philosophy imprints itself upon the mechanic. Truthfully, when it comes to Black, there is little variance here, as life gain always comes from the taking from another. If it is not true vampirism, it is also showcased as an act of siphoning the essence from another, like with the card Curse of Fool's Wisdom. Most often, Black life gain is mechanically built around the concept of dealing X damage and gaining X life, as showcased on cards like Grey Merchant of Asphodel or Cauldron Familiar. Where Black really stands out is in how it utilizes life gained. With life gain so intertwined with life drain, Black's version of the mechanic becomes a win condition in of itself, where it slowly drains the essence from its opponent until they are withered husks, and Black is then vitalized and out of reach. While red and blue aren't colors even tertiary in life gain, they do have the rare card that plays into this mechanic, and I would like to briefly touch on them, as honorable mentions. For red, my favorite example would be the card Game of Chaos, which turns life gain into a true gamble, which is honestly the most flavorful variation of life gain that red could have. For blue, my honorable mention would be the card Relic Bind from Legends, which plays into the concept of gaining life or dealing damage whenever an artifact is tapped. A fun idea that does suit the color quite well. Whatever the case may be, life gain is a mechanic that has stood the test of time, and has evolved far beyond its meager means into something that is a delight to build decks around. It's also the kind of mechanic that is ripe with flavor, and further reinforces the identity of any color that utilizes it. I believe that any mechanic that lives outside of one single set has the ability to reinforce our perception of the color pie, and life gain is a perfect example of this. So I urge you to take a second look at your Exquisite Blood, Harmony of Nature, or Authority of the Councils to truly appreciate the creative minds that go into making any mechanic more than text on a cardboard, but rather an expression of the color pie which has evolved and expanded over time. Thanks for going down this road with me, and I hope you've gained more of an appreciation of one of my favorite mechanics in Magic the Gathering. If you enjoyed this video, then you will probably like this one here, where I expand on the story hidden behind card draw. And with that, friends, I will catch you in the multiverse. Bye.